role models, most of them right in my living room. My mother's battles with the Republican men over women's and family issues, such as girls' educational programs and equal pay for women, inspired me in my own showdowns with military men. My Aunt Dorothy showed me a portrait in courage as she fought breast cancer without blinking until the day it took her life at age 43. My grandmother Elsie, my mother's mother, told me stories of women's emancipation, and I listened to every word, living history through her. My grandmother Grace told me again and again that nobody could make me feel inferior without my permission. I believed her, even after I discovered that she was quoting a Democrat, Eleanor Roosevelt. I began studying and collecting quotes from other strong women, from Katharine Hepburn to Helen Keller to Marilyn Monroe. In college, I encountered an amazing teacher of contemporary literature, the first feminist and open lesbian I had ever met. She introduced me to the strength and wisdom of New York Congresswoman Bella Abzug, and other women who simply would not accept second-class status in a man's world. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "You have to accept whatever comes, and the only important thing is that you meet it with courage and with the best you have to give." If I have tried to live by any words, it is these. The challenge set before me was to build a military career as a woman, one of the first to join the Army after it had done away with the limitations of the old Women's Army Corps and opened its ranks to female soldiers as never before. I had prepared myself in a childhood spent trying to run, ride a bike, and kick a ball harder than any boy. As a youngster, I managed to dig a ragged hole in the backyard before my father interrupted my determined effort to reach China through the center of the earth. And my mother plucked me from a second-story window before I made good on my boast to the neighborhood children that I could jump to the ground unscathed. I was one sharp-tongued, abrasive girl, and thank God the Army was ready to give me discipline and maturity. In the Army, I could make a career out of training hard, jumping out of airplanes, and trying my best to compete with men on a level playing field. And the Army taught me to command. As I rose step by step through the ranks, from platoon leader to brigadier general, I learned that real leaders achieve that status not by shouting, but by listening, not by ordering, but by doing. My husband, George, a Special Forces officer, was my model. I admired the dedication he showed toward his soldiers, the toughness of his refusal to order soldiers to do what he would not, the discipline he exhibited as he carried out his missions in the toughest corners of the world. My husband encouraged me to reach beyond the physical, mental, and emotional barriers that stood before women in the military. Find out how far you can push yourself, he told me. Find out what Janis is capable of doing. I celebrated every promotion as an opportunity to open new doors to the women coming up behind me, but I never regarded myself as a trailblazer. My goal was to accept my challenges and do my best. The best and worst aspects of my military career came together in Iraq. I had prepared for that challenge by serving in some of the Army's toughest male precincts, earning my parachute wings and a Bronze Star for my role in the First Gulf War. I served for years in the Middle East, not only as a soldier, but as a diplomat training young Arab women how to bear arms for their country. In Iraq, I became the first female general ever to command soldiers in a combat zone. But I also faced a crisis that ranked as the most devastating of my life, though its circumstances did not seem completely unfamiliar to a woman serving in the military. When things went wrong at the Abu Ghraib prison, nobody stood out as a more convenient target than the female general who looked so out of place from the perspective of all those male warriors. If my superiors expected me to accept their version of events and go away meekly, they made a mistake of strategic proportions. As the commander of the military police soldiers throughout Iraq, I accept my share of the responsibility for the abuses committed by some of them who worked the night shift in Cell Block 1A.